All right, great. So my talk title is Turning the Tanker and Navigating Rough Seas. So this is a bit vague. I was invited by Nearform to attend NodeConf to talk in the enterprise track. I'm certainly the first talk diving more into the meta level and not the technical level. I hope this fits a little with your expectations. So my talk is more about change, a story about what we did in transformation work. My name is Gregor Russbuelt. I'm working on digital at Costa. So Costa, what is this? You might have heard Costa Coffee Company or Costa Frozen Foods, but have you ever thought about Costa Cruises? So question up front, who has ever done a cruise in their lives? So can you add up if you think about doing another cruise or your first cruise? So pretty few people out there. Okay, cruising is a difficult industry. As you see, massive ships. We do have small cities cruising the oceans. This ship is Costa Diadema. It set sails in 2014, hosts roughly 6,300 people, is 300 meters long and roughly 40 meters broad on 18 floors. So this is quite massive thing rocking the seas. So the cruise industry at all transported 35 million guests in 2015 alone on 300 vessels, which is in itself quite small, I would say. But this industry is capacity capped, which means we do have a market where we have more demand than ships on the water. So our industry will be growing by roughly 25% in the next 5 years just by extending capacity. And capacity-capped markets are usually a quite rough thing to navigate, right? Because whenever you deploy new capacity, you will have instant revenue, more or less, even if you do have big investments. This sets for traditional IT not moving, for example, for businesses not thinking about new business models. How do we move forward? Because we can just build new ships and get better at what we do. So digital, in this case, I said I work on digital. Digital can mean a lot of things. So we all can say we work on digital, right? Is it a digital agency in the middle of Costa, which is building some websites or some marketing pages? Is it equals to web? Is it more? On a conference in Hamburg a couple of weeks ago, someone inter-exchanged digital with artificial intelligence, so equalize it. This is quite interesting because a lot of people think digital moves towards automation, right? Risking people's jobs. And a couple of people don't really understand the core of artificial intelligence. They only think, okay, yes, it's pattern matching, automation, and driving things forward. For us, digital is more about transformation. As a buzzword, everyone has heard it. Everyone wants to do it nowadays. We want to transform ourselves. We want to build a better experience for the customer, right? And by doing this, we want to transform the way we work in ourselves, whereas we are in an industry which hasn't moved for quite a long time. So we set sails and said, let's go forward, full speed ahead. We want to have something small, fast, employed with the best technologies, methodologies, etc. We can have. Maybe you remember this series from Hulk Hogan in the 90s, Summer in Paradise, Speedboat. Great thing. So what we did in 2015 is thinking about what can we do in order to transform this organization. Our unit got founded. We got a lot of people on board with all the knowledge required to go fast, to be at speed, to have fun at work, know what we do, know what we are talking about. But is this really enough to drive things forward? First thing, oh shit, brownfield. I need to integrate with legacy systems. Suddenly, I've got a landscape of 300 outdated systems, which are not properly documented, where people not knowing what's going on in there, side effects, etc. So we were there, going fast, building products, web products mainly, on the first step. And we thought, yeah, it's all right. But suddenly, this legacy kicked in, rough seas. We had to figure out what to do, right? With our little shiny speedboat having fun, we weren't able to persist these weather conditions, right? We needed to pick up. We needed to learn what does it take to be stable on these waters. So at that point, we had to leave our small boat and enter the vessel to understand what's going on. So some learnings on the way. If you work in digital transformation, it's not enough to just build in thin slices. This won't transform your company. So what we tried first is digitalizing a publishing brand which used catalogs to sell cruises. Quite easy to build something to make it more digital, right? 2 pages, I've got a search, I've got the details, booking, boom, runs. The problem here is it's a very simple slice. The organization in itself never realized what a huge leap forward that was, right? Employing things like continuous delivery, etc. It's a huge success for us, but we didn't change anything of the organization, right? People are still trying to foster and to handle us like an agency, right? Dropping in requirements and not focusing on the customer anymore. So next up, what we thought is leveraging technology to break down these silos. So how can you leverage technology whereas you have a big, massive metrics organization doing a lot of things on the one hand, more things even there, some outdated things on your back. You never know what's going on. How can you use technology to bring them all together? So in our case, we thought about the customer. What is the customer doing? What does he need? What can we use in order to navigate around the brownfield legacy systems, build something new in order to improve the situation? So in our case, we thought about, OK, we need some kind of integration layer, something which can bring up a new shiny world of microservices, etc., with the legacy systems. And in our case, in the first case, we targeted the user smartphone, right? We wanted to have a travel companion for everyone where you can receive the information you need right now. So what we did there is thinking towards, I think this is coined by SoundCloud and Saltworks from last year, Backend for frontends, right? Have you heard of this, Backend for frontends? Is anyone really using it? It's extended, OK, 1, 2. So Backend for frontends, the idea is you're building a very thin orchestration layer on top of your legacy APIs, and building out a microservice world on the other hand, which helps to reduce friction, makes it easier for your clients who are interacting with this backend to get the data they need. Right? It helps you to move very, very fast from legacy to the new Mode 2 or shiny world. What we employed there is GraphQL. Anyone using GraphQL in production? OK, GraphQL is basically a declarative data fetching framework, and we are really just using it as the backend for frontends, which orchestrates all our services we need to integrate. The beauty about GraphQL is I do define my data in the client, which I need. In the server or the backend, I do have a scheme or schema, which is well-defined, documented. I can see from where the data is coming, and I can pretty flexible shift out the services behind my backend. It's a nice piece of technology. I would encourage everyone to have a look into it. So moving forward, we're using Relay to fetch the data from the GraphQL backend and the React Native application. Because yes, we are not only capacity capped, but resources capped, right? Having a small team trying to build a lot of digital products, we want to use technologies which can be employed by the whole team, so JavaScript in the core. So the next thought, after having a product which is used by customers, breaks down silos, makes people work together and collaborate, share knowledge. How can we get this even further to have the idea of one ship, for example? So each ship on these seas is offline by default. We need a reliable way of distributing our applications to bring down the amount of work required on board for IT officers to have their VMware infrastructures running. So right now we're investigating on a nice topic, shipping containers on actual ships. So the backstory here is right now we are piloting Kubernetes in order to have federated clustering above all our 41 ships in the European area, which will give us a huge advantage of deploying applications and having better control over which services running on which ships without a lot of manual intervention. So this will be a huge leverage for us once we're there and we can deploy applications through our chips in ease. We have a much better leverage using the customer as leverage to bring down some of the legacy systems, renovate them, and go forward. I'm doing time-wise. I'm OK. I think that's it from my side. Great job.